Purva, Peter, and I, Manav, want to thank you for joining us at Signal. We know all of you are very busy and really appreciate you taking your time out from your busy schedules and being with us here today. For the next 25, 30 minutes, our plan here is to give you a little bit of an introduction into what are the different things that you can do with Twilio messaging. We'll walk through a little bit about the different aspects of the product portfolio, different aspects of the capabilities, but we're going to spend the bulk of our time actually showing how these things work together with a lot of live demos that both Purva and Peter have put together for you. Talking about demos, everybody take out your phones. To participate in the demos, and we hope all of you do, we'd love for you to text either 1 or 2, your favorite number, to 415-691-2664. All right? Raise your hand when you're done. Okay. All right. All right, about half the people are done. Looks like more coming in. Okay, fantastic. Thanks for joining, and you'll see why we asked you this in a few minutes. So the premise of our session here today was really this idea that messaging is different than messaging applications. You know, you ask any Twilion, how do you describe Twilio to your friends and family? And they'll most likely go and tell you, oh, hey, you know that ride-sharing experience that we're all used to? When that driver's outside and you get that text message, that's powered through Twilio. That's the easiest way for any Twilion to describe what Twilio does. And it's always met with this quizzical look from the audience going, what do you mean? It's easy to send a text message. Why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because that text message was not sent by a human. That text message was part of a messaging application, and that text message was programmable. And that's really what we are talking about here, and that's what we want to show. How can you go on your path of building a programmable messaging or programmable texting application? The first thing you have to do is to think about what kind of messaging you want to do for your given use case. Is it a one-way messaging thing, or are you expecting replies and it's a two-way messaging thing? Then, once you figure that out, the next question you have to ask yourself is this a bulk messaging thing? Or is it transactional, where it's the actual message that you are sending is specific to the exact person that you are sending to? Based on the answers to your questions here about one-way, two-way, or bulk or transactional, the type of technology you use underneath, how you develop that application, and what is allowed even from a regulation point of view changes. And that's why this is really the first consideration you should be thinking about. The next thing you have to think about is what messaging channel would best serve the purpose that you have in your mind. Are you going to use SMS, which is ubiquitous? Are you going to use in-app chat? Are you going to use push notifications? Or are you going to send messages over a variety of different social applications like Twitter or Facebook Messenger and the like? And the reality is that each one of these messaging channels have different attributes which make them better for different types of use cases. And if you were really to distill all of this up into something that is digestible, at least in this session here, is if you're trying to build a messaging application that is ubiquitous, where you want to reach people, all people with a cell phone or all people with a mobile phone, choose SMS because that's ubiquitous. But if you're trying to do a two-way experience with people that have your mobile app, in-app chat is going to be a lot better because it's going to be richer and it's going to have the context of all the other information that you have in your mobile apps. Or if it's a one-way message only and you want it to be a part of an app experience where you're going to direct people to something else inside an app, maybe push notification is a better option in that particular case. Or if the message that you're trying to send makes a lot more sense from a social context point of view, use social messaging apps. Okay? So let's apply some of this theory into an example. So let's just say, for an example, that Peter, Purva, and I are part of Owl Bank. Right? Fantastic little bank that does a great job of mortgages and sells mortgages to its customers. And just coming up from Memorial Day, it's got a great mortgage rate that it wants to tell all its customers about, everybody in its database about, and they want to tell them hey, we have this new mortgage rate. It's a special, only lasts 4 or 5 days, and it wants to get the message out. But then it also has this wants to take this extra step of going, I know that I have 2 types of audiences in my database. Those people that are pre-approved for a mortgage, who have a very high propensity to get a mortgage from me, and those people who are not pre-approved, and it is everybody else. So I want to segment the message differently and send different content to different people. And then for the people that are pre-approved, I want to give them some special service and let them reply to the message and help them get their mortgage right away and get going. So for this particular example, what a messaging application would look like is, for the first use case of just sending people the information about the mortgage, would be a bulk SMS because it reaches everybody. And it might say something like Memorial Day special from Our Bank. Here's the rate. Lock in your rate on this URL. But if you want to segment that information for different people, you might create 2 types of messages, still sending bulk, but segmented, one allowing people to reply, and for the second, not allowing people to reply, just giving them a URL. And then when that segment of people that can reply do actually reply, handle that reply back from your agents, from the agents that are in our company, that are typically part of a contact center. Right? So we're going to walk you through all of this. And to make all of this happen, we're going to use different Twilio building blocks. For sending bulk SMS, we're going to use programmable SMS, which gives you the ability to send and receive text messages from any programming language that you use today, and from any web and mobile application. And we're going to use Copilot. Copilot is an assist that we provide. Think of them as controls that handle a lot of the underlying communications infrastructure to get past the issues of scaling messages from 1 to 1 million, or 1 to 10 million, or 1 to 100 million, handling a lot of that, the orchestration underneath. Then to segment those messages and send them to 2 different audiences, we're going to use Twilio Notify, which, if you were in the keynote this morning, is an example of a declarative API that is user-centric, and where you can segment audience 1 and audience 2 and send messages to them separately. And then when the group of people that get the option to reply, when they do actually reply, we're going to show you how to use programmable chat and SMS to create an agent chat experience to a customer SMS experience combination. So enough of me yapping on what we are going to do and how we're going to do it. Let's actually see it live. So Purva, over to you.
And thank you, everyone, for attending this session. My name is Purva, and I'm a solutions architect here at Twilio. And one of the best things about being a solutions architect is that we get to see the most common use cases that our customers build with the Twilio building blocks. So today, I'm going to walk you through 3 of such use cases. So let's dive right into it. How many of you here have already used or are familiar with the messaging APIs that Twilio offers? OK, perfect. That's about half of you. So what I'm going to show you first is how do you integrate messaging right within your application. Now, Twilio is a very flexible platform. We allow you to use multiple different languages very easily, like, for example, Python or Node or PHP, an example. So I'm going to take this PHP as an example. There are only 3 things that you really need in order to send an outbound text messaging. So in case of the Our Bank, let's say we want to send out a marketing text to all of our customers, right? So there's 3 steps to that. The first step really is to configure a to number. And in this case, for those of you who chose to participate in the demo, I've actually run a quick Twilio query to get all of those numbers into the to form here. And then the second parameter here is going to be a from number, which is nothing but the hard-coded Twilio phone number that I can easily go and buy from your console. And obviously, the body of the message is going to be your marketing text message, right? So let's run this code real quick. OK, Python, SMS. All right. All of you should now see a text message come to your phones one at a time. Like you see, it's coming one at a time. And this is going to take hours or minutes till the time you process all your numbers, right? So I'm going to make it stop real quick. Now, as your business grows, you really want to be able to scale sending these kind of text messages to a larger audience. Like, think of it, you want to reach out to thousands of users, even millions of users across the globe. So a better way to do this is what Madhav introduced earlier. We have another service called Copilot. So let me show you what that looks like. So when you configure Copilot, you would configure something called as a messaging service in your Twilio console. Here, I've already created a messaging service. And the crux of Copilot lies in the pool of numbers. So for those of you who don't know, Copilot actually allows you to intelligently route messages by using a group of phone numbers, as against just using a single phone number that we saw earlier. So in this case, you can add multiple geographies. Here I've added some numbers from Canada, even UK, and Australia, for example. I even have an ability to add a shortcode. So let's just go ahead and add an existing shortcode that I already have in my console. I can go ahead and add that in there, and that's it. That's all that you really need to do. You could even go into the configuration of Copilot, and there's a couple different features that you can enable. In today's demo, we are going to focus on the most important feature called Scalar. This automatically allows me to load balance my text messages between a pool of numbers as against using one number. So think of it as multiplying that throughput rate of sending outbound messages to all of your customers globally. So let's just go ahead and use this Copilot service in our code. So in this case, I'm going to use the exact same demo. The only thing that changes is the from parameter. So I'm going to grab this from the Copilot identifier from here, and then plug it right into my code. And hit save, and when I run this output, you should now be able to see these messages come at a faster rate. There you go. So this is going to enable me to scale sending outbound text messages to all of you at a much faster rate. There you go, sending one at a time. How many of you actually got the messages? Okay, perfect. And did you guys see it come through? Some of you would have seen it come through like a shortcode, right? Perfect, awesome. There you go. So it's going to iterate and send you all the messages. But again, this is not all, right? As you're talking about marketers, it doesn't really make sense to send the same message out to everyone. You also want to be able to segment those messages and really send out personalized messages to your customers. So think of the example of the Owl Bank again, right? You have users on one hand who are sitting in your database, who have browsed through your site and are just interested. And on the other hand, you have users who have already been pre-approved and are ready to buy your loans. You definitely want to give these guys a special level of service, right? So in order to do that, we have a product called Notify. And the first thing I would do with Notify, it's a little bit different from SMS. The reason is, Notify is a user-centric API. It's what Jeff discussed in the morning at the keynote. It's declarative. So you don't really have to tell Notify, how you would send that message. All you need to tell Notify is what do you need to send. So the first thing I need to create here is what we call binding. And binding is nothing but an association between a user and a phone number. So all I would do, and when I create this kind of binding, it allows me to add a segment. So in our case, those of you who chose to either send one or two, I can easily segment you guys and send you more personal messages. So let's see how to do that, right? Here, I'm going to run this code that I have for creating bindings. So now what it's going to do is create a binding for all of you, all right? Most of the users here. So when I'm done with this, the next step is to actually send the notifications. So the beauty of Notify is here, it doesn't matter how many users sit behind that segment. It's going to send out messages to everyone, every single user that is segmented as one. So let's just run this code. Actually, let's not forget, we'll add one more layer. We'll add another set of, just a common set of notification for the users who have selected option 2. But in this case, instead of having a personal message to reply back to an agent, I'm just going to ask them to visit my website. So www.owlbank.com. And I am going to send this to the rest of the users in segment 2. Okay, so again, all I did was just created a message notification, and to all the users in segment 2 will now be getting a more standardized version of the message, and the people in segment 1 will be getting a personal treatment to reach back out to our premium support agents. So let's go ahead and run this code. Clear. Okay. Now, that's the real crux of the message, right? We are able to achieve segmentation along with sending messages at scale. How many of you actually received the message saying reply back? Those of you who chose 1. Okay, there you go. Okay, people are getting the messages. Awesome, awesome. So now, that's how easy it is to integrate segmentation within your outbound text messages. But again, there's another element of how do you handle those responses back and forth with your users, right? That's a big part of your business as well. So to talk more about how to handle those inbound messages, I'm going to call upon Peter.
Thank you, Purva. So for those of you who have replied in, essentially what we've done is we've taken what were one-way notifications and now we've turned them into two-way conversations. So let's go real quick to the demo to see how it works. There's a joke here. You'll see that it's IP messaging demo here at Twilio. We like to change our product names about 8 times before going back to the original name. So it really is programmable chat. That's the old name. And so we'll like to see that, all right, somebody has texted in. Who's the person with the phone number 9979? Are you in the crowd? Last number 9979? No? Okay, it seems that we might have to do a little refresh here. With these live demos, you can never be sure of the internet connection. Yeah, let's get on the wired. Should have done that. Bear with us. Let me just swap over to here. Always be prepared, right? That's what Jeff says. And we'll see. All right, we have a ton more people who've texted in over here. So let's see. Is there a person 0511? Are you in the crowd? All right, raise hand. All right, sir. So you've texted in, you've gotten the rate, and I can reply quickly over here. Hi, this is Peter with Owl Bank. I can help lock in your rate. Wave your hand if you get the response. Okay. All right, he's got a response. So how did we do this? We have essentially him on his cell phone. Fine gentleman there coordinating with me the demo, and I'm behind a screen. So why am I showing you all this? The reason is that 9 out of 10 consumers that Twilio surveyed globally want to communicate with businesses via some form of messaging, be it SMS or chat. However, only 1 in 2 businesses are prepared to take these messages into their system. Which side do you fall on? So you've seen Twilio messaging. The APIs have been around for a while. You could easily set up any sort of incoming message to forward to your cell phone. As a business owner, that sounds insane. You're going to have thousands of text messages flying into your phone. That's not a scalable way to conduct your daily business. The scalable solution instead would be to connect Twilio SMS to Twilio Chat. And I'm going to walk over the flow real quickly about how that happens. So first, at the start of this session, you texted in 1. All these messages went to our Twilio account, which then made a post request to our Twilio server. And in that post request, I did not respond to your messages. What I did instead was that for every phone number that came in, I created a unique user for you in Twilio Chat. I created a unique channel, and I placed you into the channel alongside our browser user, which was the website that you saw. So the browser user would be me as an agent, and I'm the mortgage agent, and I'm able to take whatever chats that come in and handle them in a much better interface compared to just over a phone. The next step, after creating all that would be to use the WebSockets of chat. So chat takes care of this automatically for you, and it shows that the channel is created and that there's a new chat on screen. When it comes back, when I type in, you'll see that this text box is in yellow, not green, because this is a chat message that goes back to Twilio. Twilio makes a request to my server again, hey, there's a new chat. Would you like us to broadcast it anywhere else? And it's very simple for me to add a little bit of Twilio messaging code, the one that you know and love from the past 8 years, and make a request back to Twilio, hey, rebroadcast this message as a text message. And you can see that the box is in green again to your cell phone. And that's exactly what happened with us. Now we'll hop back to another part of the demo real quick because we have the basics now. What more could we do, right? This is a simple SMS to chat, but can we leverage the power of technology to do more with less? So I know that Manav likes to pretend that he speaks multiple languages, so I'm going to ask him to help me out with this little demo. And you are 7127. So the problem that we're trying to solve here is that in this global economy, not everybody speaks English. There's huge markets out there that do not speak English. But all my agents, I can only speak English right now. So we'll see how I can help Manav. Yep. All right, let's see. Here we go. And you can see that Manav has texted in Spanish. And what I've done is I've connected a little bot powered by IBM Watson to look at any incoming text message and realize that if it is not in English, to do a real-time translation and you'll see that Watson says, I need that rig today. I didn't understand whatever that Manav texted in, but Watson has done the translation for me. So I, as an agent, even though I'm monolingual, I can leverage the power of technology to do a little bit more. And so we can basically do whatever we want from here. So let's take a look real quick at the flow. And you'll see that the inbound text flow is still the same, but with one extra API call to IBM Watson, I can now leverage everything that Watson is powerful for: natural language processing, translation, message sentiment, and then broadcast that message in English to chat. So we've kept this demo intentionally simple to show you that with just a few items, you can build very powerful and engaging customer workflows. But bear in mind, there's a huge add-on ecosystem in Twilio that you saw at today's keynote, all the various add-ons that we've added. So things like message sentiment analysis, natural language processing, all of these can be integrated simply into your demos. And we've made partnerships with all these companies so that we've wrapped their APIs, so you're not dealing with another company. It's not a separate business arrangement. You're not learning a new API. Everything's inside Twilio. It shows up as a line item on your bill, and it's the same Twilio API that you know and you love. We can't wait to see what you built with messaging, and so back on to you, Manav.
Well, thanks, Peter. Thanks, Purva. Folks, Peter, Purva, myself, and the entire team are here. Oh, can you not hear me? Can you hear me? Great. So Peter, Purva, myself, the entire Twilio team are here at the Twilio booth. Should you have questions about messaging, questions about different things that we showed you today, we can answer those for you. Generally, if you want to learn more things about messaging, whether it is sending bulk messages, sending segmented messages with Notify, or handling replies with chat, or any other aspect of Twilio, we have put together a recommended schedule for you. These are all talks today and tomorrow that talk about different aspects of messaging. Have a great time at Signal, and thanks for being here.